Well, happening next week, lawmakers are considering to write legislation to compensate for the Summer EBT program that was taken away for this upcoming summer. Colin Vidros has the latest from the legislature.
So could Louisiana see its Summer EBT program come back? Well, it would not happen until December, but lawmakers will discuss possible bills to provide a solution to the loss of the program in the coming days. At the state capitol on Thursday, David Matlock, Secretary of DCFS, discussed the budget allocation for $3.5 million for administering the Summer EBT program. Matlock mentions the rollout with multiple state agencies involved, but the program would not provide benefits until December due to coordination issues among departments. There's concern from representatives regarding the delay in delivering benefits to families during the summer months, prompting discussions about expediting the process and ensuring timely assistance to those in need. However, according to Matlock, students can still use the SNAP benefits program, which is not provided by DCFS.
It's a great program. It is done through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, largely based on our Department of Education, but then also other folks, our various parochial schools, and then other non-governmental organizations will also be able to deliver that.
I find that very disturbing, over a $3.6 million funding allocation, when the two agencies that was up here have billions of dollars, and you're telling me we can't figure out how to spend $3.6 million?
That was Sun-La State Representative Jack McFarland expressing concern over not having a Summer EBT program. State Rep. McFarland says the loss of the Summer EBT program is, quote, hogwash. He says he plans to work with State Representative Amy Freeman to provide a solution. Reporting for News Channel 5, I'm Colin Vidros.